right, I have my still life set up here and I'm about to get started on my drawing. I have a small piece of paper here. You may or may not end up doing this on a larger piece, but in order to fit it in the frame, I had to go ahead with the smaller piece today. Okay, I want to make sure I have my supplies. Since I'm doing books, I wanted to make sure that I had a ruler. I have a nice kneaded eraser, my soft eraser. If I have any lines I really need to scrub out, I want to make sure I have my white vinyl eraser. And then I have my drawing pencils. I will probably use a range of these today, from the harder ones. I like to start off usually with an H, sometimes with an HB, and as I move into the shadows, I'll want to use some of these larger numbers, the 3B, 2B, etc. Probably going to need my pencil sharpener, and just possibly I'll make use of my blending stump. So I want to make sure I have my supplies nearby. All right, let's start off here with an HB, why not? And I'm gonna think back to those lessons when we talked about simple shapes and ghost lines, and I wanna just get the lay of the land. So first thing I'm gonna do is look at my paper and kind of decide, okay, where do I want things to be? Do I want the books and the cup to kind of crowd the corner? Do I want there to be lots of extra space for my napkin? I just have to make a game plan. So with my pencil light and loose in Monster Grip, I'm just gonna kind of jot in, you know what, that's feeling a little hard to me. Maybe I'll start out with a B. I'm just gonna jot in the basic shape. So that's kind of my cup shape, okay, yeah. And then if that's my cup, then the books will kind of come in like this. So I just wanna make sure that I'm gonna have room. Already I can see that I've drawn quite big and I might end up running out of room. I might have to reorient things in my still life, or I can decide to be okay with it going off the page. So I have some decision making to do. Okay, if I have one book there, then the other one will kind of come down like this. And I can work on angles and stuff in a little bit. I just want to make sure I'll have space for everybody. All right, and I cheated a little bit. I made this book smaller because I knew I was gonna need some real estate. You can do little things like that. You're the boss of you. Okay, and pretty sure I'm gonna have to check these angles. I can tell right now that these are not parallel. One line is going out like this and one is going out like this. So I'll need to check that. But for now, I'm just trying to make sure my spacing is okay. Okay, and I had my apple here in my image. That's a little tight, but I think if I cover that corner, I'll like the effect, because then it's like a round. It's a little gutsy, kind of an awkward position, but I'm gonna go for it. Covering that corner. Notice how I'm still light and loose. I'm holding my pencil from the middle. I'm not making any marks that are so dark that I just can't kind of brush them off with my kneaded eraser. All right, I'm gonna scoot the apple over a little bit. Yeah, there we go. And so since I moved it in my composition, I'm gonna move it on my actual table as well, so that what I'm seeing on my paper and what I'm seeing when I look up are the same. That's gonna make it easier for my brain to get an accurate drawing here. Okay. All right, and then let's not forget about the pencil. So I actually have a pencil, something like that. Okay, well, I fit on my page. It's not my favorite composition. It's a little bit clunky, but I think I can give it a more momentum and kind of spread it out by having those stripes on my napkin when I get to that point. All right, when you're happy with your placement, you can go in and just kind of get a more accurate ghost line. So I'm really not switching over to detail mode yet. I'm staying in that ghost line. I'm not using my ruler. I'm still trying to feel it out a little bit. I'm gonna try a technique with the angles on these books called sighting. So I'm going to hold up my pencil. I'm looking at my still life right now, and I'm holding up my pencil so that it lines up with the angle on the books. So right now I'm covering the edge of that book with my pencil, and then I can kind of come down and translate that. Okay, that angle's pretty good. Let me try this angle. Nope. I was a little far out. I'm gonna bring it this way. And then this angle should be parallel to that angle. We don't have enough distance in front of us that there would be any kind of perspective. So I just want to make sure that this angle and that angle are the same, and then by extension that this angle and that angle are the same. I can measure if I want. Okay, so that's 2.5. So this should be 2.5. Yeah, that's pretty good. And that would be 7. So that should be 7. Okay, did a pretty good job for just eyeballing it. Here's where it gets tricky with cubes. These lines on the corner should go straight up and down. And a lot of times people want to kick them out or in, but really it should be parallel with the edge of your paper. So just gonna make sure that those, when they come down, are parallel with the edge of my paper. Look at me trying to make it not parallel. Do as I say, not as I do. Okay, and then this bottom of the book or your cube should be parallel with that one. Still in ghost line mode, still in ghost line mode. I'm gonna feel these out for another minute. I'll speed this up so you don't have to see the whole process. Quick note, if I am going through an object, go ahead and draw the whole line. As long as you keep it light enough, you can go in and erase, and that will keep you from having a line that comes here and then accidentally zags up there. All right, I'm gonna speed this part up, and I'll just take a minute, light and loose, still with my ghost lines, to kind of find the edges of my objects. All right, you saw me do this a little bit already, but it's never a bad idea to pause at any point during your drawing and clean up your ghost lines. That just gives you room to make more ghost lines as you continue to get more and more precise and figure out the exact placement of your objects. I'm pausing to make sure that I have my axial line for my cylinder, my center line. That will help me make it be symmetrical on either side. I also want to make sure that the opening is the same size on either side and top and bottom. So I've measured here to here. Those are kind of my hit points. When I have that top curve, and I'm pretty happy with the top curve, I can measure where it is above that T mark. Oh, it's about a 1/2 inch. And then I can try to match it on the bottom. Sometimes if you just try to draw an oval, it's hard to make it even, but if you start with one curve and then try to match it, it seems to work a little better. And I'll do the same thing down here. The bottom curve of the cup should more or less match the top curve. So I'll give myself a little axial line. And then try to get this curve to match that curve. actually gonna stand up here. Sometimes that's the better way to get the angle you want. And I turn my paper, I've got it taped to the table so that you guys can see it, but normally I'm flipping it around and I'm rotating it. Make it easy on yourself to get the right angle. All right, I'll come back to this in a little bit, but I'm gonna give it a rest. Go torture another part of my picture. If you feel like you're kind of stuck or it's not going the way that you want, move around. Go pick on another piece of your picture. And then sometimes when you come back to it, you have fresh eyes and you're able to see what it needs pretty quickly.